A deserted island. Humanity has vanished, and the only one who can save them is...
Cats? Alright, let's do this.
Now that's gaming.
Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nakutso, and joining me in this episode is the sandwich eating machine Tubbymora.
What's up? And if this is your first time here, consider subscribing so you can discover something new as we begin this week of Kickstarter Games.
Do you like cats?
Better yet, have you ever wanted to be a cat?
Then the open world game Peace Island is something you might want to check out that's being created by Eric Blumrich.
Your mission? To find out what happened to the people who mysteriously vanished from one of the remote main islands.
Stare at walls to uncover secrets.
Play contextual minigames.
Complete side quests to open up more story elements.
And interact with the many animals you come across on the island.
It's up to you to decide if saving the humans is truly worth it. Eric wants Peace Island's main focus to be on the story,
discovery, and atmosphere rather than combat.
Something that will make you think even long after finishing the game.
Over the course of your adventure, you'll take part in conversations with the remaining residents of the island.
The game is being created in the Unreal Engine, and you can tell from the videos and screenshots that it looks beautiful.
The life brought into the world and the way the cats move is well done for something this early in development.
And I can see with more work, the game bringing a different experience than what you normally see in story-driven games.
Not only does it have sci-fi and fantasy elements, but Peace Island is a homage to the main islands and various cats Eric has come across in his life.
Which I think is pretty awesome to pay tribute to. As someone who's been looking more into this game and kind of followed the developer on Twitter, I wanted to bring Tubby here to really give his thoughts as a first impressions.
The first thing I could think of is... you know those games like Flower, or those really atmospheric games, or like that game, I don't even know what it's called, to be honest, the game where you're just swimming all the time. It's all more about like atmosphere.
I think it's Subnautica.
Yeah, maybe. Sure, let's go with that. But like games like that, I feel like that is going to be the strongest point of this game is more about like the atmospheres, because from what I'm seeing, like the footage and screenshots is very, very calming. Like if you're like walking through the forest or just walking around town, there's like a sunset. It's just very atmospheric, like a very relaxing game. But I did notice the developer is interested in making this game into a open world game, right? From what we were seeing.
Yes.
The things with open world games is it's cool that, you know, they can explore, and then, you know, you have the day and night system. But if there isn't always something interesting happening at like locations around the world, open world games can get, and at least in my opinion, can get pretty boring. Especially if it's just like travel to point A to point B. There has to be an incentive for players to explore. And hopefully the developer is looking into stuff like that. Like maybe you walk around the corner, and then even though it's not part of the story, you can see like, I don't know, stray cats fighting over something like in the dumpster. I don't know. Just like interesting things that could happen around the world. Other than that, like that's like the only thing that I'm kind of not really sure about. I just really hope they fill the world with things to do, things to see. And hopefully it's not just like from point A to point B and complete a task and then just do it again. The incentive to explore is what I'm really, really hoping to see in this kind of game.
Yeah, if you look at the information about the game, it says this game will be an interactive story-driven experience which will focus on discovery, atmosphere, exploration, and rather than combat. So I guess it does cover some of the things you said. I guess it just really depends on how much of the discovery and atmosphere is really going to be present. Like you said, you want to like a lot of stuff happening, because if it's not really going to be focusing like on the combat, it has to really nail it in like the other departments.
Yeah, plus, you know, 9 different cats makes you wonder, like, are these cats gonna have different abilities, or, you know, gonna have skill trees? No, probably not.
I know, that actually sounds pretty interesting. Really just playing as one, well, actually play as multiple cats. You play as all 9 at different points, but I guess that's just something different You know, like there's like games where you play as animals, and those are always interesting to see how they incorporate some of the things that animals go through into like how the actual game will be. That's actually very interesting though, if like each cat has something slightly different.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how everything is just gonna interweave with each other. I don't know, I guess it really depends on what the developer's end goal is, because it's like they kind of left the story kind of open-ended, and you know, you can add whatever you want, but or are they trying to go for realism and, you know, try to hit you in the feels with its atmosphere? It really depends on what the developer's going for.
Yeah, I definitely think that as someone who's been following this for around a month and just seeing different things, it seems like it definitely has a lot of promise, with a lot of the story-driven stuff being through like side quests and all of that, and meeting just different animals. I'm curious how they're going to interact with, like, you know, when you're playing as the cat, like how they're going to interact, if they'll be aggressive, if they can like damage you, if you can even take damage in the game. There's like a lot of questions still. But again, this game seems to be paying homage to a lot of the stuff, so I guess we'll definitely see how it develops in the future. Alright, now we're going to be looking at the rewards. This is the rewards on the right side for the different tiers that you play through, that you pay through. And I just wanted to ask your opinion, Tubby, as someone who's backed I think one game or two on Kickstarter before. Which tier do you think is worth the most, and do you think all of the tiers leading up to the end, do you think that's a fair price?
Okay, so for their tier lists, for example, for the game itself, I'm finding it kind of odd that you have to pledge at least $36 or more to get a copy of the game upon release. I feel like that's a little steep in my opinion. I would have preferred like a price tag around $15 to $20, especially if it's a developer that isn't well known and they're trying to get their foot in the door. It's $36. That's quite a bit. And then if you go down to the $18 tier list, you're only getting early access to the demo. You're not even getting access to the actual game still. You're just, you know, still testing the waters. So I think the rewards are fine from like my first look on it. I just feel like the copy of getting the game, perhaps move that lower, probably to the $18 mark. Because, you know, there's a lot of games coming out. You know, people have limited time, limited money. It's like, especially if you want to get your game out there quickly, you have to kind of play to the customer. And definitely 36 just seems a little too high, in my opinion.
The most backers is definitely the $36, since that gives you access to the copy of the game, with the other ones being like 12 backers, 13 backers, 14, 5, and 5. You could definitely see that people want the game, and I definitely think if it was like at, you know, the $18 mark or even like $20, it would like do a lot better in terms of more backers. But I guess we'll have to see about that. And appearing in the credits, this is something that kind of stood out to me though, which was good. Your name will appear in the game credits even if you pledge $3. Usually when I see rewards like this, that is like more in the $30 range and higher. So I thought that was something that really stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's always good, getting your name onto the game. Like, even though you technically didn't have a hand in creating the game, at least you know, the developers is really kind in their thanking all the people who helped them get to that point. It's always pretty cool giving back to a community like that.
After everything wrapped up into a package, Tubby, what is your final thoughts on the game?
I will only buy it if I can fight other cats. I want to see a cat on cat turf war. Oh, no, okay. If all my thoughts in regards to the game, it looks like it has a lot of potential. I would definitely love to see more gameplay footage, probably from the developer, showcasing, you know, features of the game as it's drawing close to the release date, because the idea sounds really solid. I'm just curious to see how it all, you know, works together in the end. Like, what makes this open world game, what makes it worth playing this open world game versus all these other open world games that are out there, you know? What's the defining features that'll really make this game stand out compared to other open world games. Because, I mean, there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them, like we were talking about before, have that problem that it's a big open world, you know, there's cool things everywhere, but there really isn't much to do in the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess other games that have more narration, they can kind of get away with not having a lot of stuff, since it's more about what's happening in the story, and you'll just have different characters. Or maybe there's games where there's like a lot of puzzles and it's open world, and it's also like story driven as well. But I guess we'll definitely have to see how this pans out. But Eric, we wish you the best.
Yeah, good luck, man. I'm pretty sure you got a solid game here.
If you want to learn more, support Peace Island, or want to ask Eric specific questions about the game and what it has to offer, then check out the links in the description below. And if you want to discover something new, you can get started right now by clicking this card where I and Tubbymora went over some awesome looking games coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Or for something a bit different, click here. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you guys next time.